Good evening, this is Gloria Taylor Brown, and this is the 51st edition of A Gathering of Priestesses. And we'd like to welcome those of you who are with us this evening, and any of you who watch us on YouTube in the future, and let you know that we're really glad you're here. We have a group on Facebook that you can join. It's called A Gathering of Priestesses. Not very secretive. It is a closed group, and you do have to ask to join, but I'll be happy to include you and let you in. And tonight's guest is the lovely and talented Miss Alexa MacDonald. Alexa, welcome to A Gathering of Priestesses.
Thank you, Gloria. It's really wonderful to be here.
Now, I've known Alexa for some time. I met her through Nikki Scully, and if you people get the feeling that maybe Nikki Scully is the nexus of my social life, you're probably right. But I met Alexa a number of years ago and had the privilege and pleasure of hearing her beautiful voice as she was singing for an event that Nikki had going on, and she was quite wonderful. She wrote the songs she was doing. She was I think you at that point had a radio show down in Prescott, Arizona.
Yes, I did.
And she also was doing, were you doing gourds?
Yes.
Okay.
I taught gourd art for a number of years and made them, sold them, taught gourds, and then I finally, I've done a lot of jumping from medium to medium in my artistic career, and so the gourds were wonderful, and I loved them for so many reasons. They are empty and receptive and feminine and round, and all of these, they have these just fabulously wonderful feminine qualities to them. I just love doing it. But then I moved on to other things. But I have something to show you. I have something to show you, Gloria.
Sure.
Hold on. I'm just going to grab something.
So we also have with us this evening my co-host, Catherine Ravenwood. If Catherine disappears, it's because Dancing with the Stars showed up and she's got to watch it. Apparently, it can't go on if she's not there. And as you know, this show can't go on unless she's here.
So fortunately, Dancing with the Stars was delayed an hour.
All right. So what have you got for us, Alexa?
Okay. Can you see this? Can you see this, lovely girl?
What is it? Pull it back.
This is my talking stick.
Oh.
And I made this talking stick on that weekend when I met you at Nikki's house. Remember that weekend when we
the Wild Women
burned up the yoni? So this girl is my talking stick, and I hope you can actually see her because she's quite extraordinary.
She's wonderful. Yeah, I still have a bunch of sticks in my living room that I've made over the years. I call them my shaman sticks. I don't know what else to call them. The lion sits right beside them, so between the two of them, I figured nobody's going to walk in this house. So, at least not unaware. And Alexa, what I'd like to hear from you, and I don't think I've ever heard it, is what drew you onto the priestess path?
Oh, well, I don't know. Probably more than most of your guests, I don't actually think of myself that much as a priestess. But I feel like my whole life is the path. My life is the path from the time I was born, from the time I was a child and had sort of fantastic visions and tried to make sense out of my world. And now I think of myself as a priestess simply because I find myself falling into the role of a teacher and a facilitator often. And that's sort of my priesthood, really. My life, my personal path is really a path of mindfulness, and I have a very Buddhist way of being in the world, and I feel like that is my calling, to just be the practice as much as I can, to be an example for other people, and to be a help to people who struggle to find their own personal way to be at peace in the world, because that's my personal philosophy really, is that we come here not to work something out necessarily, but mostly because we want the experience of this physical world, this physical body, this being able to touch others and to touch other people, and to have the limitation of the physical body and the emotions. And I love this. I love this world. I hear people say, "Oh, I'm trying to work out all my karma so I don't have to come back again." And I think, "Oh, I want to be back. I want to come back. This is the most wonderful place to be. It's a great place to be, and it's a wonderful place to find all that there is to discover. There's so much to discover here in ourselves and in our physical world." So, how did I come to the path of a priestess? I'm not sure. I'm not sure I am a priestess, except in the sense that all women are, that we are all expressions of the feminine principle of the universe unfolding and becoming.
That's an excellent answer. In fact, all answers for this question are totally acceptable. We've actually had someone on here who said, "I'm not a priestess. What I am is a reporter of priestesses." You know, so, and it doesn't matter how you answer the question. The question is, it's simply a way of looking at the way you interrelate with the world, and how you, because what we believe here is that we are the eyes, the mouth, the hand, the body of the divine expressed here on earth. Without us, they have no expression. You
Exactly.
know, it's really hard whenever you're in that ephemeral state to, you know, move a glass, for example. So
can't do it. Well, maybe you can, but it's hard.
It's hard. You know, anybody who's done any type of movement with their mind knows how hard it is, and that's why we're physically here looking at it. But so as you became a priestess, obviously along the way you also became a musician. So tell us a little bit about how you became a musician, singer, songwriter, player.
Okay. We were talking before we came on air about how things have really changed for children, and how when we were children we were just sort of set free to go out and explore the world around us in ways that children these days rarely get to do. But I did. I would leave the house in the morning and be gone all day, and I would be out either riding my bike or walking in the woods or riding a horse. And what I was doing while I was doing those things is singing. I just always sang. I can't even remember when I did not sing. My parents said that I was practically singing before I started talking. So it's singing has always been just an integral part of who I am. When I began, when I picked up the guitar as a teenager, it opened a lot of doors for me. It created a confidence in me for being able to express my own music. Up until that time, I sang in choir, and I loved it, and I would sing with other people. But when I learned the guitar, it became very personal for me, and all of a sudden I found, oh, I can make things up with my guitar, and I can write songs. And I would say, if priestesses have ministries, and I have to say what is my ministry, that my ministry is a ministry of music, that I choose really, well, I'll take that back. I find that I can get a message across more easily in music, and I think this is probably true for most people. I can come up with a song, and then if it's a good song, if it really resonates for everyone, then it can touch very, very deeply, much more deeply than the spoken word, usually, nothing's an absolute, of course, but the music itself is like a carrier into the heart. Even on a vibrational level, the music makes the sound waves which really penetrate our bodies. They go right through into our hearts. So I've always sung, and I have always loved music.
I am the me. You are the all that is. You are the river. You are the tree. You are the all that is. All of the stars to eternity. We are the all that is, and we become all that will be.
I thought that was appropriate at that point in time. I didn't quite expect it. Oops, no, I didn't quite expect it to start playing as soon as I went there, but I didn't mean to interrupt you, but...
That's what it does, though, with SoundCloud. As soon as you hit it, when it opens it, it just starts it right up. Just
yeah.
Like that.
Okay. So I apologize for interrupting you. I don't apologize for playing the music because it was totally appropriate for right there at that moment. And
that particular little song on my my CD, Compassionate Heart. There are two little short bookends on each side of the CD, little short songs that came to me. Usually songs don't come quickly to me. Usually I have to work at them. They'll roll around in my head sometimes first before they really find their final form. But these two little things, that particular one, I Am the All That Is, and the other one, Infinite Capacity, which maybe you could play in a moment, Infinite Capacity, both of those two just kind of fell into my head as a complete and whole thing. And when that happens, I know it's right. I don't have to struggle with it at all. I'm just channeling it from somewhere.
well, the funny thing is I have always heard music in my head, but since I have no musical talent whatsoever, I can't write it down, and I can't sing it because I have a voice of a crow. We may have Raven on here, but she has a pretty good voice. I have a voice of a crow.
Raven has a lovely voice.
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Alexa. Thanks, Gloria.
Yeah, so I was actually the only person I know of who was thrown out of the Baptist choir. And believe me, it takes a lot to get thrown out of a choir, particularly a Baptist one. And they said, can't you just stand there and just move your lips? You're too loud. And I said, I don't think so. And they said, then I think we're going to have to ask you to step down. So that's my claim to fame, and I'm sticking by it.
It would be interesting for any number of us to sit down and make a list of all the places we've been asked to step down from.
Oh, yes, right.
I think we need a long piece of paper, one of those booker rolls, and start writing it down.
Yeah, well, it's a long and winding road, but the truth is, I was strange to start out with, and I've gotten stranger as I've gotten older. The only difference is now I don't care what the other people think about me.
I have to say, since choirs came up, I love singing in choirs, and I'm singing in a choir now here in Portland that is so much fun. It is a community women's choir, and it's called Resonate Choral Arts, and we are a nonprofit actually with the mission to use choral music as a community builder. And we've had a fabulous time this spring because we got a grant to start a teenage girls choir, and then we have just finished doing our little concert series with the adult choir and the teenage girls choir, and it was so wonderful to watch what these, we had about 4 months with them, how it changed these girls. It just, for some of them, it just completely opened them up to an entirely new world. And then we've been taking our performance out to different places, and last night we took our performance to a treatment center where teenagers and young adults are getting help for drug problems. And it was an extraordinary experience to watch these teenage girls start to understand that they have the power to actually have an effect on other people's lives, particularly people who are in crisis and having difficulty. Because the audience was so touched by what we did last night, and the girls in the choir were able to see that, and it was just, I mean, I'm still high on it. It was so wonderful.
Up at Women of Wisdom in Seattle, the choir there has gone out and done quite a bit of work in the halfway houses, I believe, or at least some of them have. And I know at one point some of them were involved with the women's prison down in Purdy, and would go down there and work with the women there. And also Simone La Drama would go with and teach drumming, and which you know, is really freeing because you get to hit something. And it's
Yes.
You know, I always thought that was the great part about drumming. Then I found out you have to hold the rhythm, and I can't do that, so I don't get to drum either.
You should get Simone on.
I love that. Oh, I'm sorry. What did you say, Raven?
You should get Simone La Drama on the show, Gloria.
I've asked her to come on, and last time I asked her, she was moving. I'll try again because I would love to have her on.
She's great, yeah.
And
I love that choir. That choir from Women of Wisdom, they backed us up. Raven, you were singing with me too, right?
Yes.
Yes. They backed us up when we did the
Cauldron.
spirit medicine journey with Cauldron journey with Nikki.
Was that 3 years ago?
I think so.
Already?
Yeah, it was 2 years ago, because that's how long I've been dealing with my husband, because I didn't get to go. So, yeah, so anyway, so going back to the music, and I think the music has taken you on a sort of a long, strange journey as you have gone, if we will excuse the quote. Tell us a little bit more about where the music took you and where you went as you developed.
Oh, well, okay. Well, I started out, as I said, in choirs, and then when I was a teenager, I started playing the guitar, and I spoke a little bit about how that opened me up to beginning to write music, and I've been writing music ever since. I also had so people ask me, you know, what kind of music do you do? And it's very hard to answer that question. I never quite know what to say. For years, I had a radio show in Arizona called the Folk Sessions Live, and I worked with a lot of folk musicians. And a lot of my music has a folk music kind of feel to it. But the messages that I'm trying to get across through that medium are often a bit different than traditional folk music. You know, not so much about having your heart broken and or falling in love, or although I have some of those kinds of songs also, but I also have songs that are that I'm wanting to put into the world as a vehicle to touch people's hearts and to help people open their hearts. So it's been a long journey. I've had so much fun along the way. I've played with so many musicians along the way, and I've loved all the years that I've been working with Nikki, because that's kind of taken me into an entirely different kind of world, more of the world of the priestesses, and kind of more into Nikki's kind of world, and that has prompted me to write a number of things that have more of that kind of flavor to them. And I'm right now working on a recording that will have more of my more contemporary tunes on it. And some of the things actually that I developed with Nikki are going to be on that CD also, but it's still a ways from being completed.
Now, I understand in your development with Nikki, you have also become part of the altar at the Oregon Country Fair, and sounds like you're now, I don't know, head honcho or head altar babe or something.
No, hopefully we don't have any heads. We are a cooperative body there at the Altered Space. I started doing the altar years and years ago, actually, right when the Altered Space was first created, and I was at that time living in Oregon. That was before I moved to Arizona. And then, so the first few years of the altar, maybe the first 3 or 4 years, I was a part of it. Then I moved to Arizona, and I would come back in the summer for the first few years. Then I missed about, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, and now I've moved back to Oregon, so I'm back doing the altar again. And the altar is growing and expanding and becoming something more wonderful every year. It's just a fabulous experience. I just love doing it every year. It's exhausting. We are starting to work already on it because we have a crew of up to 30 people, and we move a lot of equipment and the beautiful statuary, and we create for any of you who might manage to make it to the Oregon Country Fair this year. Please find the Altered Space. We have a beautiful, large, non-denominational altar. We offer altered healing services. We offer altered advice, which is, you know, for 5 cents, sort of like Lucy on Peanuts. But the people who are giving advice are all people who really give very, very good advice. So, and we have a children's crafts area there where the children can work on some kind of project that helps them to think in a more spiritual way, in one way or another. Some years it's making prayer flags. This year they're making dream catchers, I believe. And in the last few years, when Indigo Ronlov has become more an integral part of the Altered Space, and she has kind of brought with her a concept she had been working on of having an elemental altar. So we had honored a different element every year. First, I think earth and water and air, and then finally fire. And with the fire, the whole elemental altar has completely come together. So now we have an ongoing sacred fire all through the country fair the entire weekend. And the country fair is, I love it. It's very high energy. There's a lot going on all the time, and you can come to the Altered Space and find a place to just relax and chill out and find your center again before you go back out to have more fun.
Oregon Country Fair is in Veneta, Oregon, and you can find it online at Oregon Country Fair. So it's very easy. There's lots and lots and lots of images I found online. So if you want to know what it looks like, with my husband, I took him there one year, and we were there for about an hour. He came up to me and he says, "Can we go yet?" I said, "Why?" He says, "I've seen boobs. I've seen a penis. What more is there?"
I love the country fair because really it is a celebration of all things creative. Dance, music, just general craziness, but it's just a fabulous experience. If anyone can make it, they really ought. Everyone ought to go at least once.
I agree, and what I recommend is that if you're going with other people, one of the things you can do is you can say, "I'll meet you at the altar,"
Yes.
Space, because everybody knows where it is that's there, and they can point you to it, and it is a place where people can kind of sit down and relax and not have to buy anything or do anything or be anything. And I do know, though, that whenever one of my first experiences with the altered space was the advice thing, and it was the first year that it was going to be there, and it's like, oh, this is going to be fun. We're going to give this light advice and what have you. First woman that sits down, 16-year-old girl, she says, I'm pregnant and I don't know what to do. My father will kill me if I tell him. And I'm
Yeah.
it just suddenly went a long way beyond me. So, and 45 minutes later, we'd worked out a plan, but it was like, oh, this is not fun. This is serious. And there were a number of people that had really serious issues that they brought to the altar, to the advice section, and needed help with. And I don't know where they would have gotten that otherwise.
I think all the years that I was there, either in the altered healing or the altered advice, I probably did the best work I've ever done in my whole career of being any kind of healing or counselor of any kind, working with those kids that would just...
Yeah, it's there. There's a magic in the Oregon Country Fair as a whole, and then there's sort of a concentrated pocket of magic around the altar. And people when they come through the altered space, and this year they'll actually be going through it, because now we are going to have both sides of the path. So instead of walking by the altar, people are going to be walking through the altar.
Very cool.
Yeah, which is very, very cool. But when they come through there, people get it. They get that there's something special going on here. And your experience, Gloria, of going to give advice, and then all of a sudden someone is really needing advice for a serious crisis in their mind, this is not unusual. It happens often.
I found that out.
Yeah. Well, there are so many people out there who are truly looking for guidance, and they're looking for a kind of guidance that maybe they don't know where to find. It's not found in traditional pathways of looking for help. And the altar is exactly that. It's a place to find help for something. It's a place to offer up your prayers. It's a place to contribute in a community of like-minded people who worship both the earth and nature and all the gods and the goddesses and our humanity, and all of that is there with such strong, intense presence that people respond to it. And it's a wonderful thing. So it happens in July. It's the second weekend in July, or I think it's the second weekend. I think it's
the weekend after the July the 4th weekend.
Yes, it's always the weekend after July 4th, and so it's a great thing for people to do. So Gloria, a song that you might play now, which might which kind of relates to that, is "The Circus of the Soul."
Okay, so this is "The Circus of the Soul" by Alexa MacDonald, and I'll just play it.
I always thought that someday I would say, I can see clearly now. I thought in some miraculous way it would all come clear somehow. And you say to me, oh my darling, you say to me it's the circus of the soul. And this extravaganza Doesn't seem to work that way. But the keepers walk beside us through the frame and pull aside the blinders from our eyes. Year by year, I come to realize, and you say to me, oh my darling, you say to me it's the circus of the soul. You say we're here to walk the tightrope across the night, to tame the fearsome lion, to train the mighty bear, to lead the clouds of darkness and of light, to trust the hands that save as I go hurling through the air, to trust the hands that save as I go hurling through the air. Here now are the watchers to pull aside the veil, as across the cosmic big tide, wonder-filled and starry-eyed, we go searching for the moral hidden somewhere in this tale. And like the tricky boxes, always one more there inside. And like the tricky boxes, always one more there inside. And you say to me, oh my darling, you say to me it's the circus of the soul. You say we're here to walk the tightrope across the night, to tame the fearsome lion, to train the mighty bear, to lead the clouds of darkness and of light, to trust the hands that save as I go hurling through the air, to trust the hands that save as I go hurling through the oh, my darling, it's the circus of the soul. It's the circus of the soul. It's the circus of the
Lovely. Absolutely lovely. So tell us what inspired you to write that, besides the fact that it's appropriate for the Oregon Country Fair.
Oh, okay. Well, that song has actually a little bit of an interesting story. I had completed my album Compassionate Heart, and you know, I am a competent guitar player. I'm a reasonable guitar player. I'm not a great guitar player by any stretch of the imagination, but at that point in my career, I was playing better than I had ever played before because I'd worked so hard on this album and I was playing every day and I was really working at it, and I was playing really, really well, the best I ever had. And my husband went away on a camping trip with a friend, and now I have to say, for years I have had wood stoves. I have chopped wood. I have chopped kindling, but I was out there chopping kindling, and I chopped off the tip of my left finger.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and it was, you know, anyway, I had it, before I went into shock, actually, I realized that I needed to get help. We're living way out in the country. I called our neighbors, who both happened to be first responders, and who both happened to be home, which was quite extraordinary. And so they came over, took care of me, took me to the hospital, I was so worried about whether I would be able to play guitar again, because it was my left index finger, and that's, you know, very, very important for playing. So there happened to be, this is just one of those synchronistic things, there happened to be a surgeon in the hospital that day who was a hand surgeon and a guitar player, and who totally understood my concerns and my freaking out over this. And he fixed my finger, and he assured me that I would play again and that I could play as well as I ever did, but it would take me a couple of years to do it. And he was right. It did take that long. So I went home, kind of, you know, woozy on all the good drugs, and my fingers, these two, I hit both of these two fingers. So my index finger and my middle finger were all bandaged up, and I was thinking, oh no, I can't even play at all. So, and I was home alone, and my husband was away, which is when I play a lot of music by myself, when I have that time alone. And so I started experimenting with open tunings, which I had never really played with before, but you don't need to do a lot of fingering with your left hand to do open tunings. And as I started to play with the open tunings and thinking about this experience of being a guitar player and cutting my finger off, and the open tuning riffs that I was coming up with just led into that song. And that song, I think, is very, very related to, or a very clear statement, really, of how I see the world. We're here to walk the tightrope across the night, to tame the fearsome lion, to train the mighty bear, right? The lion, the bear, our runaway minds, our minds and the things that they do that carry us away, and training them is that process of becoming conscious when we are doing things that we don't want to be doing, thinking things that we may not choose, or having emotional upheavals that we actually don't even feel that we relate to anymore because we have grown beyond them, and yet they are still there and they emerge. And that's the training of the bear. We're here to be the clowns of darkness and of light. We're here to be those angels of light, but we're also here to get through the darkness and to understand our shadows and what they bring into our lives. To be the clowns of darkness and of light, and to trust the hands that save as we go flying through the air. Because the hands are there. They have been there so many times in my life. When I have needed something, boom, somebody is there to help me. And so I do my very best to be that person who offers hands to help others in the night as well. So, so there you have it. That song emerged right after this very traumatic thing that happened to me, and just fooling around with realizing that, okay, I cut off my finger. I can't really play the way that I wanted to, so I'm going to learn to play a different way
Wow.
for now.
Wow.
And that's the song that emerged.
That is quite a story, and I'm sure that, you know, in a way, there's probably stories behind every one of these songs that you have.
Yeah.
And, you know, because one of the things about music, about story, is that they tell a story, and they contain a story, and within that story, they make that story translatable and passable from one generation to another. I was listening to someone, oh, I can't remember, it was recently, and they were talking about how we still have songs that memorialize things that happened generations ago. And the example you used was Ring Around the Rosies, which supposedly comes from the plague times.
Right.
And, you know, we think of it as a little children's ditty, but, you know, it memorialized something that was traumatic and tragic, and we needed to deal with and move through. And
Yeah.
so, and you know, I've been watching the Voice and Dancing with the Stars and the music there, and watching the Voice develop people, you know, and watching how the musicians have crafted. It really, the thing I like about The Voice, which I'm not crazy about these you know, shows that are competition, what have you shows. Main thing they were designed to do was to get writers out of work, so I'm not happy about that since I'm a writer. And but it's learning about how a singer or a musician crafts their voice, crafts their the conversation, the voice that they have.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
That's all right. And learning that, you know, someone comes in with what is called a good voice, but that doesn't make them a great voice until they learn to master the instrument.
That's right.
And,
That's right.
And, you know, as I said, I got kicked out of the Baptist choir when I was like 9 years old. And the truth is, if I had probably had a more understanding choir director or a more understanding person who could have worked with me, is the fact that I had a very big voice could have been something that would have developed into a voice that could actually carry a tune. Maybe.
Yes. It's true, and I love the idea of, I often go and sing at a little club here in Portland called Artichoke, Artichoke Music, and there's a little sign on the wall that says, if you can walk, you can dance, if you can talk, you can sing. And I think it's really true. And the choir I was telling you about earlier that I'm singing with now, this is a community choir. Everyone is welcome. So it's not as polished as it would be if it was, you know, if everyone had to audition to get into it, but it's open to anyone, even you, Gloria. You could come, and people who have people who have difficulty with their voice, who don't perhaps, generally speaking, sing that much, can get some training and some help. And if you want to sing, that's the main thing. If you want to sing, then that's the key. If you want to, then you'll listen and you will learn, and people can learn to sing. It's not something you have to be born with. So don't give up.
I think that's one of the things that I learned along the way, long after I had left school, was that it was a trained skill, just like being an artist, you know, with drawing and what have you, is a trained skill. And any kind of thing is, you know, the old saying, it's 5% inspiration, 95% perspiration. So what you work at, you get better at. What you don't work at, you don't get better at.
Right. And that applies to all of the arts, right? You can be a fantastic artist, but you have to be a craftsperson at your medium. You have to master the craft. And when you master the craft, then you can become a real artist in that medium. So that's my cat is wanting to walk across here.
On the show, they all do. Cats and snakes immediately want to come on the show. We are welcome, kitty cat. What's the kitty cat's name?
Kitty cat is Sunny.
I said.
Here, hold on. We will introduce the world. Here he is. This is Sunny.
You managed to freeze your thing, so let's see if we can get you back.
Oh, I've got you.
Yeah, I know, but you disappeared for a minute, so let's see if we
did I? Oh, whoops.
Sometimes it works to just click on it. Come on. All right, say something, dear.
Okay, I'm talking. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you fine. It's just we lost the picture.
Oh,
anyway,
you lost the picture.
Yeah, don't reload. It'll come back probably in a minute or two. Let's just go.
Okay.
And
I wanted to add something.
sure.
Years ago, I was at a workshop with our friend Brooke Medicine Eagle. And Brooke is a wonderful singer and has written many good songs, and she does a lot of drumming circles, and she's a native teacher, and she's a fine human being. Yeah, and Brooke is a lot of things, and they're all great. And she was we were in a big circle with her, drumming and singing, and she said, you know, my elders told me that if things are really bad and you don't know what else to do, just sing in harmony, and it will get better. And somebody said, well, if you're all alone, how can you sing in harmony? She said, put on the radio, put on music, sing with a CD. Don't nitpick this, you know. But I've always remembered that, you know, and it's true, because when you start singing in harmony with someone else, as Alexa said earlier, that vibration shifts, and it goes through your heart, and it changes things.
That's right, it does.
And I love to sing with you, Alexa, because I get to sing backup for you sometimes, and it always makes me feel so good.
Oh, I love having you sing with me too. It's always been so much fun. And also because you live where you live, and I'm now living in Portland, and I don't really see you that often. Usually when I see you, it's because there's some kind of an event going on.
Right.
Where I'll be singing, and then you get to sing with me. So
I might get to tag along because I'm lucky. Everybody goes, oh, there's Raven. Let's let her do something.
Oh, my goodness. Don't minimize your contributions, Raven.
I feel very blessed. It's been very fun.
Yeah. Well, Raven has a lovely voice. I've heard her sing a number. In fact, didn't you write a song about trees?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she wrote a song, so she can do that as well. She not only is able to...
I wrote a song.
Well, I don't know about other songs you've written, I'm sorry, but I know you wrote a song about trees.
I did indeed. It's a great song.
Okay.
Well, if you've written one, you could write more. But again, you know, it's really, where do you turn your attention?
Yeah.
There's only so much time we have in this world to become proficient at however many things we do. So obviously you have the seeds there, and so if you ever choose, you can focus some attention on it, and then you can develop it.
I was recently given a violin, and all my life I'd wished I'd played the violin, but I haven't gotten lessons yet. So I'm hoping that maybe in the next few months, when other things I need to do get finished, my writing projects get finished, maybe I can get a little violin lesson in and finally learn to play the violin. Of course, I want to play Italian Baroque, and that will take a little while. Yeah, probably the hardest violin music in the world is Italian Baroque, and that's what I want to do.
Well, maybe you should just call it a fiddle and start plucking.
Well, yeah, and just holding it is interesting. I mean, so anyway.
It's a difficult instrument.
Mm-hmm.
So I admire you for tackling it.
Well, we'll see. I haven't tackled it yet. I've done a little bit, and I can actually make it sound like something, you know, without I can at least get an even tone out of it, but I haven't had any lessons yet, so maybe YouTube will teach me.
Maybe what?
YouTube.
Oh, yes, YouTube
Yeah,
is
I
great.
went on YouTube and found out how to hold the bow, so probably there's other lessons to follow.
That's good. I've been living on YouTube trying to figure out how to run my new recording software.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. There's just a million YouTube videos on it.
Something for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the advantages.
Have you got my picture back, Gloria?
No.
No. Oh my.
Alexa, go back up to the top of your screen and make sure you haven't turned your camera off on the little bars up there. Because
Little
when you reach
bars.
for your cat, you might have done something.
I don't. Okay, wait a
Cat might
second.
have done it.
I don't know. It says I'm on live.
Yeah, well, turn your camera off and then turn it back on.
I'm not quite sure. Oh.
Oh, up at the top, there are these
Yeah.
little. Turn it off and then turn it back on and see if we.
Okay. I just did. Did that help?
No, it didn't help. That's okay. We can hear you. And I want to play your song Infinite Capacity before we end the day.
Okay.
So we're going to do that one next. Is that all right?
Yes, that's great.
You have infinite capacity, both inside and out. So go ahead and let the world adore you. The wellspring of well-being will never run out. So go ahead, lavish your love on all that comes before you.
Lovely.
Very short. Oh, you're off under it. Now it's going to play the next song.
Okay, what's it playing now?
When we leave.
Now it's playing Sail Away.
Ah, okay. It seems to have a mind of all of its own. It just
Yes, it does. It just clicks onto the next SoundCloud file.
Okay. I have a SoundCloud account, but I use it mainly to load up stuff that I give away on a gathering of priestesses. So
There we go.
I haven't spent a lot of time there. I know it cost me $6 a month, but that's it. So anyway, as we're coming to the close of the evening, you have anything you want to tell us about that you're going to be doing in the near time future?
Well, let's see. I am working on writing a piece for, do you know Camille?
Yes.
Yes, okay. I'm writing a piece for Camille's blog. The piece is on writing music, so I'm working on that. Of course, I still have to make a living, so I'm doing editing for making a living. I have a couple of book projects that I'm working on. And other than that, Country Fair is coming, and so that from now until July will just gradually consume more and more of my time. Hoping to get a trip in to Washington to play some music up in Seattle just with friends. That will be fun. And my choir has a couple of more performances here in Portland, which you can find out about at resonatepdx.com. That's kind of it for the moment. Working on a new CD. My website has been under construction, but hopefully by the end of next week you can get to my website, which is alexamacdonalddesigns.com, MacDonald with an M-A-C, and you can find some of my music there. But the site, I was hoping to have it together so that people could go there right now, but I can't. If you would like to buy CDs with me on them, you can always go to folksessions.com and find my CDs there. So
thank you so much for being on. What I'm trying to do here is schedule it not only so we don't go into Dancing with the Stars, but so that we can end with Raven with a piece of music as we end here. Raven is, of course, available for tarot readings, tarot consultations, and why don't you tell us how they can get in touch with you there?
You can email me at the letter K Ravenwood at Yahoo. So that's K Ravenwood at Yahoo. My website is Catherine, Kathryn, Ravenwood.com, and the information is there. I actually have a special going on right now, so you get a discount if you schedule with me now. And it's my passion. I've done many things in this world, and tarot is my passion. So I would love to do that for you and with you.
Well, thank you so much for that, and thank you so much for supporting us and being the co-host on this show. Raven, for some reason, although she does no technical work on the show, if she doesn't come on, sometimes we have trouble with the technical part. He brings the right juju for it all.
Raven's got the right juju, that's for sure.
I've been known to tether you in the past, Gloria. So
that's true.
Yes.
So,
well, I want to thank you both for having me. I've really enjoyed this little conversation with you. It's always fun to hang out with the priestesses.
Well, hopefully you'll come back and see us again, and we'll be able to talk with you again, and maybe we'll see you up at the Oregon Country Fair or in Portland or somewhere along the way. It's a wonderful thing having friends all over the country.
Isn't it?
Yes, it is. So
which selection are you thinking of going out on? I think you should do Hold the Light.
Hold the Light?
Uh-huh.
Okay, I don't even see Hold the Light.
Oh, you don't?
I see Infinite Capacity, Eve's Garden, Compassionate Heart, The Artist, and Circus of the Soul, and Sail Away.
Oh, okay. Well, then Compassionate Heart.
Compassionate Heart. Okay. Great. And so one thing I do need to say is that I support the Gathering of Priestesses solely. It does cost about $400 a month for me to put this show on. So I really appreciate any donations that you are willing to get, whether it's $1 or more. If you're interested in sponsoring the show, I am going to start having sponsors, and sponsors will have brief stints on the show, or they will have their products on the show. In order for me to keep it on the show, keep the show running, it does require, it requires energy, and part of energy is money. So I have got a donations button put up here, and it'll be there on the replay, I believe, as well. And any amount is acceptable. It will just come in to Alchemy Arts, which is my company. And I appreciate your support. I appreciate your being here and listening to this show. I appreciate the fact that we have now over 4,000 people who have listened to the shows. And we have viewers from as far away as South Africa, Australia, Norway, Alaska. We've gotten a new one in Japan and Hong Kong recently. So we know this show makes a difference. We've been told by other people who are listening to it a long way away that it, they didn't know there were other people like them. And they were so happy to find out that there's other crazy people out there that think they're priestesses, and have the opportunity to give you that peace of mind and that peace. And we love you. We do. And we are your sisters. And as we move out, I'm going to play The Compassionate Heart. And thank you so much. Next week will be Molly Reamer, who is doing, I believe it's her dissertation on priestesses. So she's going to be looking for information from us and also from our audience, and be very interesting. She's a new mother and in the process of getting her degree, and we'll see what she has to say for her. She's a young one, a new priestess. So I like to have people on the show that people haven't heard of before. So playing, thanks Alexa, thanks Raven, and I'm going to play Compassionate Heart. And thank you all for being here this evening.
Love you, Alexa. It's great to see you.
Oh, great to see you too, Raven. Thank you, Gloria.
You're welcome.
Who hears the cries in the night? Who listens to every prayer? What is this unknown presence behind the veil, but always there? Beyond the world we see compassionate heart, till all who live are free. Compassionate heart. No scale of justice in your hand to weigh the worthiness of man. Compassionate heart. Compassionate who stands as witness to the suffering? What vessel vast enough to hold the pain? Who plants in the fertile soil of sorrow the patient and enduring seeds of change? Reveal yourself to me, compassionate heart, that I may learn to be compassionate heart. Sweet comfort, a mother's touch, kind attendance, a father who loves you so much. Compassionate heart. Compassionate heart. Compassionate heart. Compassionate heart.
Lovely.
Sweet silver moonlight.
I'm gonna go on to the next one.
Sweet night.
So that was interesting that you went through all those country fair.
Stop.
She shines
Just
so
right up at the top, there's a, yeah, there you go. So you went through all those country fair pictures, and right at the end, you honed right in on the one with me.
Yeah, well, I did that on purpose, dear.
Oh, I thought it was another synchronistic occurrence.